Hi, thank you, and welcome to my channel. This message is to give a little bit of insight as to some of the patterns in which I've been able to come across that actually will be beneficial to you for pinpointing certain triggers or certain aspects of your twin flame dynamic where you need to actually funnel your energy and your thoughts towards healing so that you can actually understand where you are kind of going in circles and not necessarily progressing towards union. And the reason I'm doing this is because I see a lot of the times with a lot of the clients that I work with, there's always a sense of anxiety or a sense of where they are at a state of missing their twin, and they don't necessarily realize that the vibration of missing is actually a vibration that will continue to repel their twin. So it's a matter of connecting to the vibration of knowing and really having confidence that the process will actually play itself out as it should. And you connect to the vibration of actually energetically receiving your twin when you can feel confident, and then you have energetic balance within yourself to know that all things will work itself out towards your union should you continue to persevere in your personal healing towards inner peace. And the main reason why I say this is because the healing that comes with the soul evolving has a lot to do with you healing your egoic aspect, the false ego, because we all have an ego. We have to have it. It's kind of like the operating system, I say this a lot, of your computer brain. It's absolutely necessary for you to function in this reality. However, it has been, programmed with a lot of mind viruses, which comes along with the energy that you picked up in this lifetime, as well as what was stored in your energetic DNA, so to speak, from previous lifetimes. And you have to definitely be willing to face every single aspect of that, whatever you can intuit through your own abilities, or whatever you can actually have a guide or someone who can help you pinpoint these things where you can't see. Then you have to actually be willing to face these things and work through them with the highest level of integrity and the highest level of love unconditionally, no matter whatever it is. And that is how you actually are able to progress into a higher state of consciousness, as well as raise your vibration enough to be in alignment to attract that harmonious relationship. And it really starts with self-development. You have to be willing to surrender yourself, your egoic self, to the highest form of yourself. And it's a very hard thing to do when you're constantly programmed to be in an egoic state of mind, which is basically, when we say egoic and things like that, I say it just based on the way that the terminology is kind of twisted to kind of separate the ego from the higher self, which when it's programmed with the mind virus, it does work against your higher self, which is your soul, which is actually connected to the all of the universe. And you have there's a distinction between it because there's not harmony in it, and the harmony can only come when you heal those aspects. And it's just about facing whatever triggers that cause you the emotional distress, and you actually are able to get to a place of peace with those triggers by learning the karmic lessons that it came to teach you, and allowing yourself to liberate yourself from these things as well. Because a lot of the times we place ourselves in positions and where we feel obligated. And this is another issue with a lot of twins, where they happen to live their life according to outside perspectives, and they're tossed to and fro because of preconceived notions of obligation to people that they've made commitments to when they were in their egoic frame of mind. And as they continue to grow higher, they feel guilty or they feel shame for having to grow beyond wherever that relationship taught them. And then they become so attached to the people that taught them those lessons that they're afraid to fully let them go, which is allowing those people to actually reap their karma in the situation as well. Because a lot of the times, with the twin flame dynamics, there are people who meet their twin while they're in a relationship, and morally we have a social construct of it being an actual problem for a person to have extramarital affairs and things of that nature. And you really don't want to create any new karma by doing that, but cutting cords is absolutely necessary. And what I mean by that is to say, if you have found your twin and you are really cognizant of it and you find yourself in a relationship, your heart is always going to pull you energetically to be with your twin. So no matter how much you actually whatever responsibilities that you feel as though you have in the physical plane, because the physical, you have to be mindful that this plane of existence isn't the actuality of reality. And because of that, we hold too much metaphysical weight, emotionally when it comes to the physical world, and the responsibilities that we put upon ourselves, which we can free ourselves of by just seeing through to the highest level of perception, and also chasing our own highest good and not putting others before ourselves. And a lot of times we do that out of guilt or maybe emotional blackmail, where you feel like you owe that person something, maybe because they did something for you in the past, and you feel as though you're obligated to help them out, or you're obligated to stay in partnerships or relationships based on mutual understanding of what you committed to in the past, and you don't really want to break your commitments, and you feel guilty for not honoring them. But really and truly, you're doing that person a disservice because you're blocking their karma from being healed as well, and their soul evolution when you stick around when your soul is being pulled elsewhere. And you're also not facing your karmic justice as well, because when it's time to actually move on from people, your soul actually screams at you with a whole bunch of series of events in your life that can bring on tumultuous times until you actually start to move forward in that progression of where your soul is trying to take you. And a lot of the times, those people that were there to teach you a lesson, their seasons are actually up in your life, but you're steady trying to hold on to them because of moral code. When I say moral code, I say quote unquote moral code, because it's just a human illusion, and we have to kind of step out of that, because in order to do what's right and righteous, you have to be able to do what's right and righteous for yourself and not resist what you feel in your heart, because that resistance of what you feel and the expression of what you feel in your heart, if you turn away from that, you're actually turning away from yourself, and you're doing yourself an injustice, and you aren't actually healing your soul when you do that. So you have to recognize the signs that are around you. And the people who try to hold on to you, definitely when you start to vibrate in a higher frequency, people really start to try to attach themselves to you because you are a source of light for them. And in their darkness, they need a source of light, kind of like vampires, And you have to be strong enough within yourself to know that whatever it is for your highest good, regardless if it hurts that other person's feelings, that you have to cut them out of your immediate world. It doesn't necessarily mean that you are a bad person. And the guilt that people feel from that creates fear, and it creates an energetic block from them to be able to move on and move forward in their progression of their soul evolution. Because ultimately, this experience in the twin flame dynamic is all about soul evolution. You cannot evolve your soul if you continue to experience situations that keeps coming around and around, and you haven't really learned from those lessons, So you have to honor the lessons that you receive and that your soul brought forth, but you also honor it with integrity. Do not put yourself in a position where you are creating oaths with people that no longer resonate with you, and that you bind yourself energetically to people, or allow them to bind themselves energetically to you, that is, and they are in direct they are directly inhibiting you from your spiritual growth just because of, whatever ties you held with them in the past. You have to be willing to say, well, this is where we end. This is where the road ends. And I do apologize if it hurts you that I must go on with my life. However, this is my journey. My life is my destiny. And I have to take responsibility for everything that I do, which is chase my happiness. And if I'm not happy in a specific situation, but I am continuing to do this or be complacent in these activities because I'm trying to spare your feelings, in the end, the only thing that will happen is that I lose myself. And if you tell people that, maybe it'll help them heal as well down the line, because they'll see it as an example for whatever karmic healing that they must do. But wherever you are in your journey, if your journey is taking you away from certain people, you have to be strong enough within yourself not to be emotionally manipulated by other people to, what I'm saying? Because people can really do that. A lot of the times they place judgments on you, and they want, or they have expectations of you, or, they might have did things for you where you feel indebted to them because of it. And in that aspect, you have to be willing to see if it's a detriment to your soul, to your evolution, or to your growth, and you feel as though you're bound to something where it's not truly making you happy, because this is how you know when it's time to move on. If the people around you aren't making you joyfully happy to be around them, or it becomes a burden for you to be in that environment, then it's time to cut the cords. And if, because what you're doing is working against yourself, you're working against the healing that must come. And a lot of the time, spirit really is truly, and your soul is really truly trying to energetically pull you away from it. But your ego, which is what needs to continue to heal, will always fear that soul evolution. So with that, it usually tends to pull you in through the fear so that you can stay complacent and not grow outside of that, So I just wanted to give you this message so that you can know that it is okay to hurt other people's feelings when it comes down to you growing and you being where you need to be, because the only feeling that matters is unconditional love. Human emotion is truly arbitrary because it's just an indication of where you are vibrationally. And if you use it as a tool or a gauge, let's say if you were driving a car to see if your tank was empty or full, it wouldn't really matter if, where the needle is. If you want to say that the emotion would be the emotion, the gauge would be the needle, so your emotions can be high or low, and you can have a range of emotions, but the only emotion that truly matters is love. Okay. And love is when you're on a full tank, and no one wants to be on an empty tank of gas trying to take a trip. Usually you always fill up. And then when you get past a certain point, you fill it up again, because you want to always have enough and more than enough to get where you're going. And if you look at that, in that aspect, for in the sake of your evolutionary growth, you always want to be overflowing with love for yourself so that you can pour out that love onto others. And when necessary, if you need to refill, you have to pull back and not allow people to drain you to the emptiness of your cup, and then you are running on E, and then you run out of gas and burn out, So you don't want to really do that. People will burn you out if you commit yourself to whatever they want for you because of whatever reasons that they may have, out of fear of losing you. You have to be willing to lose people who no longer serve the purpose of being in your life because of whatever toxic energy that they generate within you. And you can actually gauge that by how they make you feel. So don't rely on your emotions to say, if you feel guilty, this is where I need to be. But the guilt is to pinpoint what you need to heal. You know what I mean? So like I said, the only emotion that truly matters is unconditional love. And the pathway to the twin flame dynamic is to learn how to unconditionally love first yourself. And then when you're loving yourself, you're giving that exchange to your twin. And once you're able to do that, then you can really pour that out to others as well unconditionally. But never really, when you give that unconditional love, should you neglect the unconditional love of yourself, because if you do, then it will actually be an imbalance, and what you're sending out to that person would not actually be unconditional love. It will actually just be something totally different. And you really have to be mindful of the frequency that you are resonating in, so that you can actually progress to your union. And that is by cutting out people who need to be cut out, not allowing people to use you or manipulate you into staying in circumstances and situations that don't progress you towards your soul's evolution or don't progress you towards your union. It's very important that if you need to get divorces, get divorces. If you need to get rid of whatever, if you're in a relationship and that relationship is not serving you well, even if you're well entrenched financially with that person, and then you find your twin mate and you know that that is where you need to go, you need to clear up this energy, cut cords, move out of the house that you're in with the people that you're dealing with, or have them move out and separate. You have to actually take action to move towards the new life that you choose, that you want to have. But it is a choice. And if you continue to stay stagnant, the only thing that you will feel is immense anxiety, because the emotional guidance system will actually just kind of give you that red alert, like the check engine sign on a vehicle, letting you know that you are not doing what you're supposed to be doing. So you will live a life full of anxieties if you're not progressively healing towards your twin flame, especially if you started on this journey. And through your initiation process, it's kind of like purging the throw up, or when you're upchucking that throw up, once you start, you cannot stop. And if you try to pull back, the only thing that will happen is extreme uncomfortability, and that anxiety will settle in, and you won't be able to live in a peaceful, harmonious balance within yourself, because if you neglect your twin, essentially you are neglecting you. So it's really, truly time for you to nurture yourself, see and look around where things can be cut out if it's necessary for it to be cut out, and cut it out immediately, and allow yourself to feel the healing that comes from that, and work towards, releasing any and all things that no longer serve you energetically, that grows you towards your soul evolution. And you can't be afraid of people's feelings, because they'll get over it. Time will heal their wounds, and even so, it will be their karmic debt that they have to heal from as well. But ultimately, this life is about you. This life is about you and your destiny, where you're heading and where you want to see your life, not about what other people can see for you. So if you can step out of people's expectations of you and allow yourself to only expect of you what you expect of you, then you'll be able to set yourself in a proper alignment to have the strength to cut whatever cords need to be cut. If you're in a job where you don't want to be and it's energetically draining you, you'll have the confidence to find something else to do without fear that you won't be provided for. Things like that. You have to really start to take the steps of action to see that you do have the power to control your destiny, but you also have to walk in it too. It's not going to just come to you. So it's a co-creative process with yourself and the universe, which the universe is you, because it just only reflects back to you what you energetically put into it. So you really have to start to see yourself where you want to be, and then also take action for where you want to be. And if people are holding you back from that, do not hesitate. I don't care if it's your mom, your uncle, your cousin, the spouse that you've had for 10, 20 years. If it hasn't been working out for you, or if it's been toxic for you, you have to cut them off, because it's all about you and your soul's evolution. Do you want to reincarnate back into this experience to have to re-experience all the trauma, all the pain, all of the situations and scenarios again because you did not learn your karmic debt? Or do you truly want to elevate your soul to the next level so that you can grow, and also that you can assist with the mission that you have here to do, which is the soul healing of yourself, which will essentially help with the vibration of healing that goes on around the world. So we all have a mission to do. It's not just about a relationship that's a great one, because it will be that for you if that's what you want, but you have to go for it. And it will be even more beneficial for you in the long run, because your soul will say thank you when you can actually ascend to the highest realms of reality beyond this world when it's time for you to do that. And you won't have to be stuck coming back to this experience that no longer serves your soul, because you've evolved beyond it. And usually twin flames are called to heal their soul together in order for that ascension process to happen. And the union is because it happens because of the fact that this is the final time that you actually have to do it. Because a lot of times twins go through lifetime after lifetime after lifetime creating this energetic karma, trying to get it right, and then they kind of don't get it lifetime after lifetime, but then they've had enough lifetimes where they've made those, errors. When I don't really say errors, because there's really nothing, there's no right and there's no wrong. It's all perception. But to the fact that they mastered it, when they get to a place of understanding the patterns and things like that, and then they've come to a place where they've had enough incarnations that they can actually master the human experience, balance the emotions, and master unconditional love, then yes, those twins will actually ascend, and those twins will not have to come back into this experience, because they were able to fully heal all that karmic debt between the energy in their soul, and they fully bound their soul back into together, and it's no longer split, so to speak. Even though, yes, we will continue to take on different aspects of ourselves and different personalities beyond this, but energetically our souls will actually have the peace of mind. Okay, so that is all that I have for you at this time. I thank you for tuning in. If you like any type of services from me, maybe a counseling session, twin flame reading, a private psychic tarot card reading, I'll be more than happy to assist you with that. I do offer my counseling sessions for donations only, and you can email me your information once you process your donation, and I'll answer your questions accordingly. Or if you need a private reading, I can tap into your energy and the energy of your guides to provide you a channel message to help you move along as to what you need to do in order to progress to the next stage in your twin flame union. Or if you're unsure and you actually want to really know who that person is in your life, and you want to make sure that you know concretely that this person is your twin, I do also offer karmic healing natal chart compatibility reports, and that can also be purchased on my website. So again, thank you so much for tuning in. I wish you all the best in your twin flame journey, as well as just your spiritual journey, because that's all this is. It's your walk with the divine, which is you within your highest state of consciousness. And I wish that anybody that actually takes a listen to this can actually connect to their highest selves and, ascend. That's my wish for you. Truly it is. So take care. Until next time. Namaste.